Good day, everyone. In this video, we are going to take the information from a word problem into a diagram, and then from the diagram, determine the correct or trig ratio needed to solve the problem. To begin, I'm going to suggest that you pause the video at this moment in time and read through the problem. Okay, with the problem read, we realize that there are some important pieces of information in the word problem that we need to help us draw the diagram. The first piece talks about the moose being 120 meters away from the tower. The next important piece of information talks about the officer being at the top of a 40-meter tower, and the question is asking for the angle of depression. So all those pieces of information are important pieces of information. So let's think about, we are looking at trigonometry. So let's draw a right angle triangle and try to fit the information to the right angle triangle. Well, let's draw a triangle, and let's put our right angle in our triangle. Now, we can draw a right angle triangle here because we assume the tower stands straight up. And that tower, where the fisheries officer is located, is 40 meters high. So we'll label our tower as being 40 meters high. We're also told that there's a moose that's 120 meters away from the tower. So if the tower is here, then the moose has to be over here. And that side length is 120 meters. And we're also talking about the angle of depression. Now, the angle of depression, in a very informal definition, talks about the fisheries officer looking down at an angle of depression, looking down at the moose. So if we draw a line straight across, the angle that we're trying to find is here. It's the angle at which the fisheries officer looks down. Using parallel lines and alternate angles, we realize that the angle inside the triangle here is the same as the angle of depression. Some people call that particular angle, the moose looking up at the fisheries officer, as the angle of elevation. We're going to call it theta. So for us, we look at that angle theta as our reference angle. And we realize that the 40 meters is directly across or opposite the reference angle. And we also realize that the 120 meters is right next to or adjacent to the reference angle. So the correct trig ratio to solve this problem involves the opposite side and the adjacent side. And that trig ratio is the tangent ratio. And the tangent ratio is what we would use in this problem to solve for the angle of depression.